You know, there's something that happens when we reach our 60s, and beyond something nobody really warns us about. It's not the wrinkles or the creaky knees. It's the way the people who love us the most, store family, sometimes start treating us like we can't make our own decisions anymore. Have you ever had that moment where your son or daughter says, "Mom, you shouldn't be driving at night," or "Dad, let me handle your finances, it's just easier that way"? And at first you might think, "Oh, they're just looking out for me." But then, over time, it starts to feel less like care and more like control. Like suddenly, your opinions don't matter as much as they used to. Like your independence is slipping away without you even realizing it. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many of us go through this slow, quiet shift where we go from being the decision makers in our own lives to being treated like we need permission to live them. And here's the thing, love shouldn't feel like a leash. Caring shouldn't mean controlling. So today, we're going to talk about how to reclaim that freedom, how to stand firm in your choices while still keeping your family close, because you've earned the right to live life on your terms. And I'm going to share 4 powerful ways to do just that. Now, the first step to regaining your freedom might surprise you, because it doesn't start with arguing or pushing back. It starts with something much simpler, recognizing the difference between concern and control. See, our families do love us. Most of the time, they genuinely believe they're helping. But there's a big difference between someone saying, "I worry about you climbing ladders at your age, maybe we can hire someone to clean the gutters," and someone saying, "You're not allowed to climb ladders anymore. I've already booked the handyman." One comes from a place of care, the other comes from a place of taking over. So how do you tell the difference? Ask yourself, does this conversation leave room for my voice? If you say, "I appreciate the thought, but I'd rather handle it myself," do they listen? Or do they steamroll right over you? That's your clue. Once you recognize control disguised as concern, the next step is to set gentle but unshakable boundaries. And this is where things get tricky, because we don't want to push our loved ones away, we just want them to respect our autonomy. Think of it like building a fence around your favorite garden. You're not locking people out, you're just saying, "This space is mine." So the next time your daughter insists on managing your medication, you might say, "I love that you care, but I've got this. If I ever need help, I'll ask." Simple, clear, kind. Now, the third strategy is all about staying firm without feeling guilty. And I know that's easier said than done. We've spent decades putting our kids first, so it feels strange to say, "No, this is about me now." But here's the truth. You are not being selfish. You're being a person. A fully grown, fully capable person who gets to choose what's best for themselves. So, when that guilt creeps in, when you hear that little voice saying, "Just let them handle it, don't make waves," remind yourself, my freedom is worth protecting. And then, you protect it. We've got one more crucial step to cover, but before we move on, I want you to take a moment and think, where in my life do I need to plant that fence? Where do I need to say, "I've got this," and really mean it? Because here's the beautiful part. When you start standing firm in your choices, something amazing happens. Your family might fuss at first, but over time, they'll learn to respect your strength. And that's when everything changes. Now, let's talk about the final key to reclaiming your freedom. And this one might just be the most powerful of all. You've probably heard the saying, "You teach people how to treat you." And when it comes to family, that couldn't be more true. The way we respond to their concerns, their attempts to take over, sets the tone for every interaction that follows. So let's talk about the fourth way to regain your freedom, reclaiming your voice. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if they won't listen? What if they just keep insisting they know best? And that's a fair worry. But here's the thing, you don't need their permission to be in charge of your own life. You just need to start speaking up, not with anger, but with quiet confidence. Think about it this way, when your grandson was little and he wanted that extra cookie, what did you do? You didn't yell, you didn't beg. You just said, "No, sweetheart, one is enough," in a tone that left no room for argument. That same gentle firmness works now too. So the next time your son tries to override your decision about where you live, try this. "I know you want what's best for me, but this is my choice. I'd love your support. No apologies, No backtracking, just calm, clear words that remind you that you're still the one steering your own ship. But here's where it gets really powerful. Confidence is contagious. When you start speaking like someone who expects to be heard, people will start listening. Maybe not right away. Old habits are hard to break, but over time, they'll adjust to this new version of you, the version that doesn't just go along to keep the peace. Now, the fifth strategy is all about choosing your battles wisely. Because let's be honest, not every disagreement is worth your energy. If your niece wants to rearrange your kitchen cabinets for your safety and you don't really care, fine, let her. Save your strength for the things that really matter to you, like whether you keep driving or how you spend your money. But this is key. When something does matter to you, that's when you stand your ground. Not with a shouting match, but with simple, unshakable statements. I've decided to keep my car. I'll let you know if that changes. End of discussion. And here's a little secret. The more you do this, the easier it gets. It's like flexing a muscle you forgot you had. At first, it might feel shaky, but with practice, you'll feel stronger than you have in years. Now, the sixth way to regain your freedom is building a support system outside your family. Because sometimes, the reason we let family control us is simple: we're lonely. We don't want to risk pushing them away because, well, who else do we have? But what if you had friends who didn't treat you like a child? What if you joined a book club, a walking group, or even an online community where people see you as you, not just someone's parent or grandparent? Suddenly, you've got a whole network reminding you that you're still sharp, still capable, still interesting, and that makes it a whole lot easier to hold your ground at home. So start small. Strike up a conversation with that neighbor who always waves. Say yes to lunch with an old coworker. Little by little, you'll remember just how much you have to offer with or without your family's approval. Now, we've covered a lot so far: recognizing control, setting boundaries, speaking up, and finding your people. But there's one last piece to this puzzle, and it's the one that ties everything together. You know, there's something I've noticed about the people who age with the most joy and independence. It's not that they have perfect families or flawless health, it's that they've mastered one simple but profound skill: trusting themselves. And that's the seventh and most important way to reclaim your freedom after 60, reconnecting with your own instincts. Because somewhere along the way, a lot of us started second-guessing ourselves. We let doctors, adult children, and even television commercials convince us that we're too old to know what's best for us. But here's the truth: you have decades of wisdom that number 30-year-old, no matter how loving, can possibly match. You know when you're tired before any fitness tracker can buzz a warning. You know which foods make you feel good without a nutrition label telling you. That's not just experience, that's expertise in being you. So how do you tap back into that? Start small. The next time someone says, "You shouldn't," pause and ask yourself, "Do I actually agree?" Not because you're stubborn, but because you deserve to be part of the conversation about your own life. Now, the eighth strategy is about reframing what help really means. Many of us resist standing up for ourselves because we don't want to seem ungrateful. After all, they're just trying to help, right? But real help empowers you, doesn't erase you. So when your daughter insists on taking over your grocery shopping to make things easier, try this. "I appreciate you wanting to help. Why don't we go together this week? I'll show you how I like to pick my produce." That way, you're accepting the care while keeping your autonomy intact. And finally, celebrate every victory, no matter how small. Did you politely decline when your son tried to cancel your weekly card game with friends? That's a win. Did you book that weekend trip even though your sister said you shouldn't travel alone? Another win. These might seem like little things, but they're proof that you're still the author of your own story. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself 6 months from now standing a little taller, speaking a little clearer, making choices without that old weight of guilt or doubt. How different would that feel? What parts of your life would light up again? That future isn't just possible, it's waiting for you, not by pushing your family away, but by gently reminding them and yourself that love and respect can and should go hand in hand. So start today. Pick one area where you've been handing over the reins and take just one small step back toward the driver's seat. Maybe it's managing your own medications again. Maybe it's insisting on keeping your morning walks solo because that's your thinking time. Whatever it is, that's where your freedom begins. I'd love to hear in the comments what's one thing you're reclaiming control over this week. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more conversations about thriving, not just surviving after 60, because you've spent decades caring for everyone else. Now, it's your turn. Here's to living life on your terms at every age. You know what's truly remarkable? The way one person's courage can change an entire family. I've seen it happen time and again. Someone like you decides enough is enough, and suddenly, the whole dynamic shifts. That's what we're really talking about here, not just reclaiming your freedom, but transforming relationships that may have been stuck in old patterns for years. Because when you start honoring your own voice, something beautiful happens. You give everyone permission to do the same. Let me share something you might not expect. Your family might secretly be waiting for this change. Oh, they'll fuss at first, no doubt about that. But deep down, many adult children carry the exhausting weight of feeling responsible for their parents' well-being. When you gently but firmly take that burden off their shoulders, you're actually giving them a gift, the gift of being your child again, not your caretaker. Take Martha, who told her daughter, "I know you worry about me living alone, but I need you to be my daughter, not my nurse. Let's enjoy lunch together without discussing my medications." Within weeks, their strained relationship blossomed. They were laughing like they hadn't in years. This brings us to our 9th strategy, teaching people how to treat you through consistent actions. It's not about one big confrontation, it's about steady, daily choices. When you consistently make your preferences known. "I'd rather have tea than coffee, thanks." Decline unnecessary help. "I appreciate the offer, but I enjoy balancing my own checkbook." Maintain your personal routines. "Thursday mornings are for my painting class, let's schedule our call for the afternoon." You're building a new normal. And humans are remarkably adaptable creature. 7. The most overbearing relatives will eventually adjust to this version of you. Now, the 10th and final piece might be the most liberating of all, embracing the right to change your mind. After a lifetime of being the steady rock for everyone else, you've earned the freedom to be wonderfully, gloriously inconsistent when you choose to be. Want to sell the house you swore you'd never leave? Do it. Decide that knitting group isn't for you after all? Walk away. Feel like dyeing your hair purple just because? Go for it. This isn't being fickle, it's being alive. And every time you exercise this right, you reinforce the most important message of all: my life belongs to me. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought: what we've been talking about isn't selfishness, it's leadership. You're showing your family what graceful aging really looks like, not clinging desperately to youth, but embracing each stage of life with dignity and self-respect. The journey won't always be smooth. There will be days when it feels easier to just go along. But then you'll have those moments, maybe when you're sipping coffee on your porch at sunrise, exactly when and how you like it, when you'll think, this is why it mattered. So take a deep breath. Start where you are. Your family might surprise you, and you might surprise yourself. If this series spoke to you, I'd be honored if you'd share your freedom moment in the comments that time you stood your ground and discovered your strength. And if you found value here, consider sharing this with a friend who needs to hear it too.